Hi, this is Rodrigo from Frame Freak Studio, and this is the Creative Host Show. Today, our invited guest is Daria Cohen. She has made an amazing animation called The Night that has gone viral, and I just found it recently, and I completely loved it. And something that I caught my attention immediately is that she made a second part that is just as awesome, and I cannot wait for to see the third part, and I guess that will be the end of the story. So welcome, Daria.
Hi.
So first of all, can you tell us a little bit about your history? How did you get started into art, into animation, and what was that made you wanted to go for it?
I guess anyone who starts with art will tell you that they always used to draw. They draw ever since they were little kids because they enjoyed it. I didn't have that many friends, so that's basically what I did pretty much all the time. I drew, and I started off with drawing comics. And I have an older brother who's an animator now, pretty much my source of inspiration to move from comics to animation. So pretty much I did the exact same degree that he did, which was in illustration. And now we're both working in animation.
Nice. And did you study something in Israel? Did you took a career in animation, or did you learn by yourself?
I did have one course in animation. We didn't have an entire degree for animation. We had one course for it each semester, my major. So I studied what I could from school, and the rest I completed by myself.
Awesome. So, did you learn using the internet, or did you look for books or courses or things into a more traditional way?
The very basic stuff I pretty much learned from watching my brother. I started using the same program that he used, which was Flash back then. And then I just completed the rest myself.
Nice. And how is Israel when it comes to topics of art and animation and all that? At least I do not know much about the country itself and how is the industry, or better say, I do not know how much the industry is advanced in that country. So, can you explain us a little bit more about it?
I don't know much about that industry, though, mostly because it basically doesn't exist. We don't have that much of a history of animators. It's pretty new. It's not very common. It's kind of hard for animators to find job here.
Pretty much I understand completely that situation. Like I'm from El Salvador, and over there is like really hard as well. Like there is absolutely no careers or universities that teach you that. So pretty much we had to learn everything from the internet, which we still think is like the greatest invention of mankind.
Yeah, pretty much the same here.
And how crazy it is, like uh your animation has gone viral. I see that you have been reproduced more than 2 million times over YouTube. How did this happen, and how did you feel about it?
I can tell how it started. Why it escalated that quickly, I have absolutely no idea. So basically, I put the video, it's my graduation film. I put it over a year ago, and it just stayed there and nobody saw it. I had a chance to participate in a multiple animators project, or an MIP, which was hosted by a channel called Scribble Kibble. And that's pretty much gave me the exposure I've been looking for. And from there, it just started showing up in YouTube's recommendation.
Great. And can you tell us a little bit more about what the inspiration was for you to make this video, and where this idea came from?
Well, the inspiration came from the singer. I used his song for the clip, which is Voltaire. Voltaire is my favorite singer. I've been listening to him since I was 16 years old, and it always gave me ideas whenever I listened to his songs. I just didn't know how to do animation back then. So I came up with the idea for the night since I was pretty much 18 years old, maybe with different characters. And then as I started getting better in animation, I decided I wanted that to be my graduation program.
And you did the same for The Land of the Dead, right?
Yes.
So pretty much you are now creating like this history that are like this is the dream for most people. Most people spend like a lot of time trying to working for somebody else, working on some other projects, in order to do like uh, to have some weight behind their names, in order to create something unique. In your case, pretty much you created something unique from the very beginning, and it has gone. It has been a huge success. Uh, how do you started reacting when you started getting all this attention and all this from the internet?
Well, I'm not gonna lie, it was very much overwhelming. It's still overwhelming, I can't believe, because it went by so fast. Like in 2 days, I got over 500,000 views, and I didn't see that coming. I'm still getting used to it.
And are you working on another video from the same series?
Yes, I am halfway done with the third chapter, actually.
Awesome. And do you plan it to this to be like the final chapter, or do you have more ideas coming?
I have a lot of ideas coming, and it might sound a bit of a cliche, but I actually had it all planned out in my head. Added to seasons, there's going to be season 1 and season 2.
Awesome. That sounds completely amazing, and I'm really happy because in the beginning I was thinking like, oh, maybe it's going to be like a 3 chapter kind of thing, and then it's gone. But it really makes me happy to hear that there is a lot more coming.
It's going to take a while, though. Each of these videos takes a few good months to complete.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like most people do not understand that animation is like really, really hard to make,
Yes.
and usually made by a team of people. So make
I
it
should be getting some help soon. I mean, if I can make money off of it, I'll definitely hire some assistants to do the coloring for me or something, so I can pop them out faster.
awesome. And something else that I wanted to. This is kind of a personal question of me, uh, respecting to the history. It's something that I didn't understood completely clear from the first video. Was Missy evil from the beginning, or is the Kane the one that turns them into vampires?
The funny thing about that is that at the beginning, I wasn't sure exactly what's going to happen. So I left the room for the possibility that maybe she was a vampire from the start, and that's why we don't see her ears when she's a human. So it won't give it away. But then it just turned out that it was the cane. She's possessed by the cane.
Oh, nice, definitely. That was something that was like a, a doubt that was in my head. Like, okay, was she evil from the beginning? Is this the Kane or something like that?
It's I want to keep this ambiguity until the very end.
Awesome, sounds great. And what are the challenges that you have faced into making this by your own?
Um, Pretty much just the time that it takes, because I wanted it to look in a very specific way. So each frame has to look exactly like I want. So it's a lot of trial and error.
I can imagine that. By the way, do you have monetized your YouTube channel? Hello. Uh,
Can you hear me?
okay, now I can hear you. Have you monetized your YouTube channel?
I have, but I'm not exactly getting money off of it, because even though Voltaire gave me permission to use his songs, the recording company didn't. So technically, I can't monetize those songs.
Oh, that's a shame.
Mhm.
Anyways, you should put that Patreon then to try to get some donations to get the other
Yes, I
films.
am planning to open up a Patreon.
Awesome. Also, something that I wanted to ask you was, what was something that was completely unexpected from this journey that became really important?
Pretty much just the fact that it went so viral. Like from the moment I put it and I saw no one was giving it attention, I sort of accepted it. I was like, okay, so it's gonna be there, maybe to get a few hundred views and that'll be okay. And then all of a sudden it just exploded so fast.
On the other side, what was something that you expected to happen?
It's funny because I expected it to be famous, but then it didn't happen. So it not being famous. So it goes both ways, really.
Excellent. Also, I do feel like I wanted to ask this question. Do you consider yourself like an introvert person, or do you consider or extrovert, or something in the middle?
I am considering myself this thing called an introvert extrovert. So when I'm around strangers, I'm introvert. I don't talk at all. But when I'm around friends, I have to talk all the time. I like being the center of attention, but only amongst people I know.
Awesome. And how do this is kind of like a normal issue for many artists that I see. There are many people who are incredibly talented like yourself. On the other hand, like they have this shyness when they go into new spaces. And obviously, there is a need to socialize in order to get more opportunities. How do you handle this for yourself?
Well, that's a complicated one because when I was in middle school, we were actually not allowed to join class. So I was being trained to hide my drawings whenever the teachers would come around me. So to this day, I'm having a really hard time showing off my drawings to people. So basically, I'm very bad at self publicity, and thank God YouTube did it for me.
I definitely understand the feeling, although eventually I stopped caring about what the teacher said and got into a lot of problems for that. Uh, Something that uh, I want to ask you as well is that what do you consider to be like one common mistake that you see animators doing when they are starting out that they are not aware that they are doing?
One thing I see is something I would like to call they try to run before they try to walk. So they would go immediately to do complicated character animations, but they have to learn the basics first, otherwise it's just not gonna work. The other thing is trying to keep the drawing so pretty to the point where they are afraid of moving it at all because then they'll have to redraw it again. So basically, you have a very pretty drawing that doesn't move at all. This one I call the anime effect.
I've seen that, and it is weird that you mention it because like one of the most like the best animations that I see is like very fluid, kind of like water, and if you pause it into certain frames, like obviously the drawings look like completely horrible, but when you see it in motion, it just works. However, yeah, I've seen this thing in the anime as well, where everybody's trying to do what you say, like the, oh, everybody's pretty, but at the same time, nobody can move much.
People don't understand that even in Disney films, which are mastercrafts of beautiful drawings, if you're gonna pause each frame, you're gonna see some ugly ass drawing there every once in a while. And that's okay because they're supposed to look like that.
Definitely. Also, what are the goals that you have with your animation career for the future?
To make it stable enough so I can make a living out of it because right now I still have to go to my day job, which is also animation. I'm working for a studio that produces things in Israel for the United States.
That is great. Actually, we spent like 12 years making like TV ads for supermarkets and pizzerias and things like that, and it was. And we spent like 12 years just making these 30 seconds TV ads, but that's what gave us like the money to exist in the beginning. And now we're trying to jump into more cartoon kind of style.
I gotta admit that the animation, while it's still new in Israel, it's starting to catch up, but it still hasn't gone to the level of quality over quantity. So people would rather pay less money and get bad animation than pay a lot of money to get nice classic animation.
That is definitely a common thing. However, the good thing about all this is like, well, the internet pretty much has created these kind of opportunities. Like, for example, I just found your animations like a couple of weeks ago, and pretty much saw it a lot of times because I enjoyed it so much. And it was okay. I have to interview this. I have to interview her, like, to know more about this project. So the good thing is that this opens paths to create to get opportunities all over the world. Like,
Yes, I would hope that because I heard a lot of time that people say that classic animation, 2D animation, is dead now because of Pixar, because of CGI animation. But I'm hoping that it would still stay, even if not in the mainstream.
I don't think it's never going to be like completely dead. Like, if you go, for example, to a TV and see Cartoon Network in Nickelodeon, you're going to find a lot of 2D animation over there, and because it's obviously cheaper than trying to do 3D for a lot of episodes.
I don't know. I heard the other way around. I heard that CGI animation is actually cheaper to do, and it's more appealing to a more mature audience. It fits for the whole family and not just for kids, because a lot of people still think that 2D animation is just for kids, so their parents don't want to go and see that.
Oh yeah, and also like with the virtual reality and new technologies coming up, I think it's going to become easier to do 3D art than like, for example, we were in Sweden a couple of months ago, and we were able to test some virtual reality things, and pretty much we were able to create 3D models, like if we were painting into a notebook or something like that, which I thought it is amazing, although I still think it's going to take like 10 to 15 years in order to catch up speed.
Yes, it definitely has room for improvement. It looks really complicated. I'm not sure if it's fitting for all people, but I would love to see what they can make with this.
And what are some tips that you can recommend in order to make the best out of the internet?
Just keep searching, keep looking for new things all the time. You keep getting new ideas. You learn all the time. You never stop learning, and keep practicing. That practice makes perfect.
Definitely. Also, I think that you have like a pretty great gift for storytelling, and this is something that I've seen that a lot. For example, I'm not sure if you know a series called One Punch Man.
Um, I'm not sure.
Well, pretty much it's a series from Japan. It become like really famous. However, if you see the artist, like the original one, he started his comic, and his drawings are like completely horrible. like,
I'm gonna have
like.
to look for it afterwards.
However, the history he did like was so funny that a professional artist caught his attention and pretty much started making the comic like really with really good drawings, and then turned into an animation series. And like if you see another series like Rick and Morty,
Mhm.
they had the pilot that was looking horrible. However, the
As
concept
pilots
itself,
often do.
yeah, definitely. So I think that this something that is happening lately is that people are looking for unique ideas in order to produce series, and I think that you have this gift for creating that kind of unique ideas that are really interesting.
Well, it's more of a since it takes so long to do each clip, while I listen to music when I'm working on it, I get new ideas all the time. So whenever I keep working, I just create myself more work.
That is a good practice. Uh, what would be your advice to create amazing storytelling?
Um, you just have to come up with it as you go. That's what I do. I don't know if it's the right way, but that's definitely what's happening to me.
I don't think there is like a kind of like a right way to do stuff. It's like I think it's more to find out what works best for each one, and I think you have
It's
found a really.
it's the same argument as you can take any subject and make it as bad or as good as your.
Definitely. Also, uh, if you had to start from ground zero, let's say that you wake up in another universe, uh, and nobody knows about you, pretty much you have to, but you have all your skills or your knowledge. What would you do to get started and to get to this position as fast as possible?
I was so worried about that question because I'm not sure I have a clear answer for it because a lot of it's not just my skill, it's also depends on luck. I mean, luckily for me, I found that map that I was lucky enough to participate in it, and that's what caused this boost in my view count. Um, if I don't have that, I guess I just gonna have to keep looking for it.
Well, definitely there is a certain element of that that can help us all the time. Also, what programs do you use to animate? Are you still using Flash?
Right now I'm using Adobe Animate, but the night I did animate completely with Flash, and Land of the Dead I did the animatic in Flash, and then the animation part I did in Animate.
Nice. Do you have plans to learn other software in the future?
Yes, I want to learn TV Paint and I want to learn Toon Boom because it's basically the good type of Flash. I mean, even though I work with Flash, I would not recommend you starting with it if you never work with any animation program.
That is something that I would say as well. uh, I would recommend as well if you can take a look into this program called Mojo. It was called Anime Studio before. Pretty much it allows you to do 2D animation like a skeleton, and then uh,
Mhm.
once you do the rigging, animating the characters becomes really really easy and fast. So
Yeah,
that is a recommendation for you to check out in the future.
I'll definitely check it out.
And what do you plan to do? Do you want to become like a full 2D traditional animation, or do you want to explore new techniques in the future?
I'm already familiarized myself with a few techniques. I mean, I do for fun to the animation. That's why I like doing the best. But for my day job, I do cutout animation also in Flash. And before that, I also did on stop motion animation. So I know a few things, but right now I think my favorite is the classic 2D animation.
And what is about 2D animation that you love so much?
I feel like you just have more control over it. I mean, when you do cutout animation, sometimes if you don't do it properly from the start, it becomes a mess. It's hard to control it. Sometimes the computer has all sorts of issues, and with 2D animation, you just draw it all over again, and everything comes out as you think it would come out.
Nice. Also, there is, well, as you know, that animation usually becomes a team effort. What would you give as a tip for people who want to start like you did, like people who don't have many resources of many people, or maybe don't know people that can help them? What would be your advice in order for them to create the stories and the projects that they want to do?
If you want to do an entire series and you want to do it with a whole team of people, then you should figure out what you're best at and assign the task for other people that you don't know how to do, like say coming up with the storyboards or coming up with scripts or voice acting or anything.
And if they are starting like yourself, like doing it all for themselves.
If they're doing it all for themselves, then they can do it for fun. That's what I did. I enjoyed doing it, and I worked with what I had.
And this is something great because I have a couple of mentors into entrepreneurship, and the most successful people that I have found is like the people that really enjoy the process. Is there are some people who want, like you say, uh, want to have like the big job immediately and want to have like the success right now, and then there were the others who pretty much just enjoy the process, and even if they were working in something else, they will still be doing what they do in their free time. And that is some where have found like the most successful people in all in entrepreneurship and also in the art industry. uh, do you feel that for yourself as well?
Yes, because I mean, I did plan on making the series long before I became famous. So in the end, I do it for fun. I mean, it's great that a lot of people see it. I was hoping a lot of people will see it. It gives me motivation to keep on doing it. But even if no one will look at it, I would still do it for myself because I just enjoy doing it.
That is absolutely awesome. And did you expect that this to become like this kind of success, like having 2.4 million people?
Definitely not, and definitely not that fast, especially after it just sat there for like a year and nobody saw it. So just kind of accepted it. Well, it's just one of those movies that no one's gonna see, but I'm gonna keep doing it for my, I don't know, 5 friends who do watch my clips and they think they're awesome.
That is great. Any tip for people who want to start uh, into the into becoming animators and maybe they don't have many resources?
Yes, for start out, don't start out with Flash because it's a terrible program to start out with. Um, and other than that, just do exercises. Start out with seeing exercises for character animation or for basic animation. You can see them online. And then once you master those basic skills, then you can just animate whatever you want.
Great. Also, if people want to find you online, where would be the best place to do so?
I would say in YouTube.
Great. Do you have any other social media networks?
Yes, I also have an account on DeviantArt, which I go by the name of ChibiDonDC. And that's pretty much it.
You should start like an Instagram because
I actually
that
do
is a
have an
really
Instagram. I just never go into it because I used to put GIFs there of my working process, but for some reason I just won't put them out anymore.
oh. Anyways, still DeviantArt is a really great community. Like, pretty much we started there. We should definitely spend more time today, but it is really a great community to find a lot of people who support the art.
Yes, most people start out in DeviantArt. It's a good place to start from.
Is there any advice that you would like to give that we haven't talked about into this interview yet?
Basically, just a lot of times I see people who won't post anything they did because they think they're still not good enough, and they're waiting until they become good, and then people will immediately start loving their art. But what they don't realize is that building up publicity is something that takes years. Usually, it doesn't happen overnight. So just put everything you do out there. Some people are gonna love it, some people are gonna hate it, but that's the best advice I can give you.
Great. Also, any tip for shy people in order to show more their art?
Um, just lean on the support of your friends, of your family. They help me out a lot. They help me out all the time, and because of them, I believe in myself more.
Great. It's been really great to have you here, Daria. I'm going to post there also in our website your videos so everybody can see it into this interview, and hopefully we will see many more videos of you in the future.
I hope so too.
So this has been the last episode of the Creative Hostler Show. I hope you have liked it, and if so, please click the like button below and share this interview with your friends. Until next time.